All right, so let's go ahead and start off today with any celebrations that y'all have.
I got a bunch of them.
Go for it.
Well, the first one, I'm not sick anymore. I feel great. Second one, for those involved with the fifth block fiasco yesterday, thank you. I love it when I wake up from my mid-afternoon nap and I see my emails blown up with all these students. Oh yeah. So stuff one I had to take care of this morning. It's like, that wasn't the assignment. I don't care what happened. The assignment was talking about respect. I wanted us to have respect. So
Good.
And then I got to be a little proud daddy too when they're talking about this GT. My youngest one was tested, and she tested in the 98th percentile in kindergarten. So she's they're testing her for GT, which she's also in special ed for speech. So.
Are your other
that's
ones?
okay.
Huh?
Are your other ones?
Nope. So at least
you?
one out of three.
Were you or your wife in high school or anything like that?
Me, my wife.
He's just gonna do
But
So you
yeah, I
got
had
a
sent,
celebration?
unfortunately, the bad news is I had sent Holly home because she was,
I would
She looked
say,
good.
today our second block, we were kind of reviewing everything from the unit, and I missed a lot of days this unit from different stuff, but so I was worried that like the distributed property and some of the order of operations they weren't gonna remember. But really and truly, most of them, once you kind of just kind of got them right in the back in the right mindset, they knew what they were doing, and it was a very productive day. I think they learned quite a bit.
you're due now. I saw a lot of kids. I gave them that due now. I saw the block, they did the boxes. So, yeah, I was
Good,
like high
showing
five.
strategies.
I kind of got excited. They were like looking like you're crazy, but.
Yeah. I'll celebrate Ashley today, got observed, and for that, I mean, she had like all good remarks that she's starting off strong. We have just a few little things, to add in for improvement, but
We all do.
it's a good start.
We all do.
Hey,
Totally
22
true.
plus, right
Totally
here,
true.
I still.
Uh-huh.
Good job. No, you got You're like, ooh, that didn't work. That was pretty bad.
Any other?
I have one, my kid back from Achieve, and it's been back and forth, but we're getting there. Today we had a good day, he got his whole review done.
Is he happy to be back?
I've heard he isn't. But he tried to get my class going again, and yesterday I had to kind of, talk to some kids out in the hallway, and today they did better.
Good. So it's slow progress.
I think, yeah, I just have to stay consistent with him.
Good. Any other celebrations?
14 or 15.
No? All right, so Dina already went and talked to us about the GT window. So I guess just maybe towards the end of this week, if y'all could maybe come up with a list, and then we'll go ahead and send those forms out. Let's go ahead and talk about our common data over inequalities. So let me go ahead and log in here. How do you think it went?
Great.
Common?
My first play, it's night and day, my first and fifth block, but.
It was accurate. I think it was accurate data, because I had
Did they improve from your map data to inequalities and equations?
First block I had, out of 17 kids, 9 of them got 100 on
Yeah.
it, so.
I saw quite a bit of improvement from equations to
Yeah.
inequalities, which is actually opposite of what I thought.
Okay. Which is good to see, because I mean, y'all hadn't really taught it as much, but it'd be interesting to see. You got about a month in before.
Now, I did see, I think Chad can testify in this, that they took advantage of the anchor chart.
Good.
Yeah,
I was
that's
gonna
Yeah,
s-
the anchor chart, I don't know if they would
Yeah.
have, I don't know how good they would have done without the anchor chart. I think the anchor chart is saving them right now. But it's one of those things like Tony always
Right.
said, I think the more
Keywords.
they look at it, they start just knowing it.
Well, I think too, the fact that they were able to read the word problems and box those keywords, so that showed that they could at least
Yeah.
start to build on that process. Of
Yeah.
The more they look at it,
There's not keep looking
about
at
the
it.
end of the year,
Maybe we could even make them, maybe that could be a warm-up every once in a while for them, is to create their anchor chart.
Oh, that
Or
would be to recall what they could
recall,
have.
like, can you, I don't know, or on your quiz or on a comment even, at the end, it could be bonus. Hey, do your anchor chart on, you know what I mean, or something, I don't know.
Mhm.
So,
Like to take off things. Like
Take it
cover
off
up.
and something
You
like
could even
that.
throw a symbol up and be like, give me an example of a real world
Yeah.
situation or something. So looking at the data, I know, have we all had a chance to look at it or see teacher by teacher? And did we gave this to, let's go block by block so we can see.
Yeah, I gave it to Springboard.
Okay,
Yeah, mine was Springboard as well.
so when we go down, we're starting with Jeffrey. So with our meets, 50%, 8, 2, 5, 9. I think mine are about where yours are with like the 9% masters, maybe less.
Mm-hmm.
Pain. Woo! All approaches, 100%. That's good. AP 97, 58.
That's good for it to be at 60% for your springboard. That's not bad.
And Berg, another 100 approaches.
Whoa,
Whoa,
71%
71%
look at
masters.
you.
Nice. Okay, that should have been a
But that is with
celebration.
Springboard though, that's with Springboard though, so
Okay.
it wasn't, yeah.
Oh, block 2. Yeah, that's good though. And then
Oh, that's
block
good.
5 is
Yeah,
that?
that includes Springboard.
Oh, my.
I think
Okay.
we're,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are these all springboard here?
Yeah.
That's all Springboard.
Oh, so go down more.
85. Did you see
Click the,
85%?
click the green up there to the very left, the little clock with the green, yeah.
What is
But some
that?
of them got,
Okay.
some of them
That's
are
all
didn't
created.
get scanned right.
So go to pre-P.
It's all created.
Yeah, so now
I
you're
didn't
just
look at
scrolling
my
back.
map. My Springboard
Tell me when
hasn't
to
taken it yet.
stop,
That's
Keith.
it.
Okay, no.
Keep going, it'll say right. Yeah.
There it is. That's regular right there.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our overall right
I
here.
don't even know.
169 tested. So we were over, as a group, we were over 73.
So then even like Berg here, you got what, 94% approach? And that was missing 3
Yeah.
or better.
Wow.
That's really good. And then a half of the class advanced. Woo! 100% approaches.
Now, I do
A
have to
quarter.
say, I had some kids absent though that haven't taken, I wanna say 4 or
Yeah.
5 that still need to take it, so
Okay.
that 100% could go down. For sure.
And then mine, I have what? Approach 100, 11% masters. Good start.
Your first and third block are very different.
3.
Like that data was very, like, you can tell the difference in the
Yes.
first and the new
This
third.
third one.
76, 25.
53, 54%.
Woo!
This is one of those cheat sheets.
Incan's
You
got
can see
the-
huge-
It is the other end. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
So,
so-
reason that second one
Incan,
was
did you
like
notice a
the
big
prices
jump
of
from
the first one.
equations to
Usually
inequalities?
the first one was
Okay.
lower. I think it's 'cause of our
And then
Then my
fifth
fifth
block,
block,
23.
yeah.
That's still
So good.
about double mine.
And
It's not
percent.
out, but I also have
process and, you know,
5 and 5 still missing, so.
Okay. Jeffrey, about 7% masters. That's good. 61%. Good start with it.
Mm-hmm.
81, 2. Kiesler, 100 approach, 11% masters. Payne, woo, 50%. That's good. Okay. So I guess from the data, really, let's look at, we kind of need to see what we're doing, if it's working. I mean, from the data, it's clear that, I know Berg, you haven't tested everyone yet, but that's good.
Yeah, we
Payne,
saw 4 or 5.
Incan, what did y'all do differently? So like, what did
Me?
y'all, what'd you do to,
I worked really hard on this unit, honestly. I've got those problems I sent everyone. I worked so hard on all of those. Like I spent, like Incan came in there a few times and I was working on that stuff for like an hour on Friday. I came back up here on Sunday and worked on it again. I think just working on it and being the one creating it, it kind of helped me know how to, because it was my brain on paper. So I think that just helped me.
it
be
helped
able-
you kind of teach it
It
and
helped me
stuff?
teach it because I knew where I was going with it.
But when you taught it, what did you do?
I was gonna say, could I put a problem up and
Yeah,
you
I was like,
talk
when
it
you
out?
taught it, could you like
Yeah.
show us what you did, like kind of walk your kids through it? Because
So let's
Yeah.
do.
well, you're hitting at 50.
Well,
I was gonna say,
Well,
'cause
can I
need
tell you what I
to
did?
know if, let me get a question. And we'll
I sat with Christina we talked about it. I didn't teach them, they already knew how to solve it. I said, treat it just like equations. What I told them to target was the key words. And then when I told them, like for instance here, I said, what's the key words? And they said, at most. And I told them, at most. So can I get 45 students? And they said, yes. So we know it's already equal, so I can go ahead and get rid of I can get rid of, oh, no, they're all equal, never mind. So I get rid of the ones that don't have the equal sign with them. And then I think and I say, at the most 45, can I have 46 students? Yes or no? and then they think that 46, no. So we know that it can't go past 45, so it can't be greater than 45, so we can get rid of B and D. And I saw the kids start marking them out like that. And then, of course, the last thing I said, and then we went back, I said, well, 20 is already filled out. How many do we need to get to 45? And they said 25, so then they plugged it in. We did the substitution.
Cause mine.
And
well,
that, I
was
mean,
only
Chad,
gonna
that's what they did first block, didn't they?
I think we used the same notes, but I mean, that's what I told my kids too. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this one, a lot of my kids missed because they put C.
That's when you have to plug it in. I told them to go ahead and answer it.
And then another one, because I mean, we use the same, but I like what Biasotti said because we all use the same stuff, but if y'all are hitting at 50, and some of us are hitting at 11, there's obviously
There's like a huge,
there's a
huge
big,
gap.
huge difference in what y'all are saying versus what we're saying.
I want you to go up there and show us what you did.
Okay, I don't know.
And there's a
You
marker
can't
too.
shake it.
Can she write on it too, or will
I
it
don't know
mess
if I
up?
love that. I'm
I
trying to
can
think of
freeze
all
it,
I
but
like.
I would. You can erase that distributed property.
That's what I like. It's like, oh, whoops.
Yeah,
And then
I wouldn't touch
you can
the
erase
screen,
if you want to
just
erase that
the
because
distributed
of.
Am I
property.
gonna erase this
Yeah.
stuff? Okay.
Don't erase the TTM pathway, but erase the distributed.
I was gonna say, what was one? What about?
Erase the teaching path.
Do one like a 5.
Well,
Okay,
Oh,
let's do,
baby.
well, do y'all want 5?
Do you want
or y'all want
5 or
different?
1? What would y'all like to see?
Oh, you
I just
walk us
did
through what
one.
you
I
would
was gonna
do.
say let's start with
Yeah.
1, and then if we have another.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see one so because he just did it. I'd like to see what you could do.
Okay,
Good.
so I always start with telling them, but I always think it's easier. I always say, go to your chart first. I always, like, I made it a point. I kept saying, go to your chart, go to your chart. So I said, go to your chart. What word appears on this problem that appears on our chart? And so, because a lot of mine at first, before I said that, they were just like rushing through it and picking things. So I made them like the first step. I don't care about the operation right now. I care about what the sign is, because then you can get rid of stuff. So I said, go to the chart, what's our word? And I have them box the word. And with the word, I have them bind it on the chart. Where's your chart? Okay, I have them find it on the chart and say, okay, at most, y'all, where's at most? Okay, at most is right there, less than or equal to. And I make them write the sign above it. And then I say, okay, so now I'm getting rid of all the ones that don't have that sign. This one doesn't have that sign, this one doesn't have that sign. Because if they don't draw it, my kids can't just look at it and do it. So I have them draw it. And then we say, okay, well, what's the question really asking us? We know that 20 students already signed up. And my kids get really confused with when they subtract and when to add. So I tell them, okay, if you were in 5th grade, how would you solve this problem? If I was in 5th grade, because I call it the 5th grade way and the 6th grade way. So I say, what would you do in 5th grade to answer this? And they're like, well, you would do 45 minus 20, that's 25. So I go, okay, so if you know the answer is 25, what operation am I really needing to do to get my answer? Oh, well, we're having to subtract. But when we think in our 6th grade minds, we have to do the opposite, which is to add. So that's why it's going to be A, because I know that to get my answer, I have to subtract, because that's what y'all just told me y'all did in 5th grade. So now when we're in the 6th grade mind, we do the opposite, because when we solve this, we do opposite. So that's how my springboard kids do it, and my rays. They think, oh, but it's opposite. Sometimes they'll get confused and want to write it opposite of the keyword. And I'm like, no. If there's a keyword, use it. But on the ones that there is no keyword, solve it first. Well, how are you going to solve it? And then just your answer should be what's opposite.
Kaylin, you just saved me because
Does that make
swear to you,
sense?
I
Or did I
have
talk too fast?
No.
really struggled with because being a 5th grade teacher and coming from 5th grade, you're exactly right. We would have always, if we saw those words left
Yes.
over or whatever, you were
Yes.
always subtracting. And even today when I was reviewing with them, I'm like, guys, I know in 5th grade you would have subtracted this particular question, but you know, we're gonna think of it different. We're starting, now we have the total and we're gonna think what plus what's good. But the way you just said it, I love it because now
That's gonna-
that
It
helps
does.
me go
No, I
able to
love
go back
it.
and go,
Love
what,
it.
the opposite. You're
Well,
doing
and
the opposite.
I think it helps
of-
them connect the 5th grade to the 6th grade because they're not only solving, they have to know, oh, inverse property, inverse
property,
identity.
you're going back to the
use that.
inverse.
Because I had
love
about
that.
I had like 6 of them, which is
Pick
good because
C.
it's what I told them to do.
Yeah.
They picked C because they saw remaining and they circled it. Oh, remaining means subtracting because they're
And see,
taking
mine's-
what's left over.
Mhm.
So
Some
they
of mine
all
still
picked
wanna do
C.
that.
They still
Wait.
want
Yeah.
Some of mine still, I still have kids that
Yeah.
want to do
Well,
So
but see,
too.
that's why I tell them to don't, I say just disregard the answers, solve it. How many students do you need to fill that up? And then I told them to plug it in.
Well,
So then you
you're
kind of
right on
say,
point.
oh, we're starting at 20.
Yes.
Yeah, because if they so we need 25 more, so if they put 25 here, 25 minus 20, that's not gonna equal 45, so.
True.
Y'all, and even when I start equation unit,
Mhm.
because a lot of my kids even starting equations, they wanna write it where S equals something plus
Oh, yeah,
something.
yeah.
And I say,
Yeah.
guys, we're not in fifth grade anymore. That's the fifth grade way. So we know that we're adding these, what do we have to do to write it the sixth grade way? So we start talking opposites, so.
That's cool.
A while ago.
I love that.
Okay, so I think that
Yeah.
definitely would help going back, because I think our next piece of just, like, discussion, okay, so I think now can we all get out our resources for reteach and enrich? And I think it'd be good if we wanna go ahead and kind of set, like, on our table, we can set stacks of like all order of operations, reteach, enrich for each category, and then we can kind of pick what do we like the most, what do we not need, stuff like that. So I guess actually if we do it maybe here where there's more room. So if y'all just wanna kind of lay it out.
I didn't get an order of operations.
You're okay.
I just got into
I was gonna say, I've got like order of ops here. So these are both reteach.
I have copies for everybody, but I'll just.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
got copies
that's
for
good.
everyone.
I was gonna kind of put order here.
How about we just give copies there? I make copies for
I
everyone.
have copies over there, I
Yeah.
just don't wanna lay them
Just
out.
I was gonna
everybody
say, I
grab-
don't, but I can pass them.
I don't have copies of
Around.
them either.
Oh, here, I got a copy for everyone.
Okay. So then I'll just kind of lay out here what we've got.
Well, if we need copies, I can go make copies real quick. That's not a problem.
It doesn't matter. So order of ops, and then properties.
Are we ordering Russian? They were like, I was like, oh, okay.
We've got equations. Where's all the equations? Got a lot of equations.
I've got equations in.
And then inequality. Okay, so I'll put kind of like the reteach and enrich
I
there.
make copies for everybody, so if you
Oh,
just set
perfect.
it down, like right here. Right
Yeah,
here.
no, that's perfect. And then we'll kind of pick like what do we like.
Did anyone bring the same stuff?
Well, it looks like I have something like that, almost like that one.
Do you
Okay.
wanna run through what we did?
This is equations and inequalities mixed.
Perfect. So that might be a good like Friday checkpoint where it's at. It's in the middle.
Did you see what I did?
So do we have any more for properties here? Because I know you brought yours. Do you have properties in there?
I don't think this is a problem,
Okay.
this is
I
mostly
used
just
that's
inequalities.
a mix.
This was Springboard this
This
week,
is a-
and
Uh-huh.
I thought it worked pretty well.
Here's inequalities.
Perfect. Well, because I thought some of these too on here,
Next,
they were more of the critical thinking part.
next,
Let's do the equations reteach. Put that in the middle too.
equations,
Let's see.
equation.
And then I took that from one of our PAs. It was just critical thinking questions, so more open ended for those who need one small group. I realized we'd have so many materials. I was like, what? I was gonna say, do you kind of want to like separate the ones we like from the ones that are not so good?
Yeah.
So Berg, you said this was like a good.
Yes, yes.
Let's put them at
I do like that
the.
one.
I
Do you
like
wanna go
that
ahead
a
and we'll
lot.
grab it?
Okay.
And then we'll
Sure.
bring them over here so there's not so
Okay.
many. I feel like the order of ops.
This one, I feel it's
Yeah.
almost enrich, yeah.
Yeah, this would be for the higher level, and so they actually have to, they're given what it equals. So I thought that was kind of a cool way to think backwards with that one. See that, and then there's the answer key. Does anyone else have order of ops?
I didn't
No?
bring-
Okay.
I just thought of equation, I didn't
That's
think
okay.
about order.
So we've got
Okay.
kind of like.
I can go
order
get
of ops
mine,
good.
I mean, I got it.
No, you're fine,
Bob
you're
got
good.
it.
A lot of my other order offs were very too much fifth grade when I went back, it didn't have the inner.
With the
side.
negatives and
then-
stuff.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
this one, so I added like
So-
negatives and exponents, because I was like, we
Yeah.
need more
Yeah.
with that. Okay, so for on the equations.
We're gonna have a lot of those.
Yeah, do we kind of want to pick our top?
Oh, here's the equation, here's.
Well, and
all
it
the
depends what we're using this for too, because if we get our district stuff back and we have our common data, we wanna make sure we're not just saying, okay, you need work with order of operations here.
Uh-huh.
We need to make sure we're doing something. So like, some of this stuff may be good to have kids work on independently, while other stuff, like this would be like a good small group, because that's 4 questions. real quick. These two are our common questions when we made our commons last year that we didn't use. So they're like 4 or 5 questions each.
Like
Like some of this.
I got this from that's my small group, that's why I
I
wanted.
would use a small group, but more like this stuff, I would have them working on when they're not in my group.
Just because they kind of already know.
Yeah.
So we could pull this as kind of individual practice.
Like I said, I grabbed all
Yeah.
that stuff. This is small group, we do small group.
Do we like this
Some of these
for?
board
Lot of
questions
writing.
are pretty hard too. So just keep
I was
that in
gonna
mind.
say, because we did this for, what was it, Star Practice last year, and,
And some of them we took out because they were too hard.
okay.
So just keep that in mind. I grabbed those.
Are y'all keeping your resources separated though? So when you hit star review, you will have your star review resources?
We've been trying, yeah.
So it's just something to be mindful of, like this.
And of course, I just grabbed,
Because I think last year we pretty much made all of them.
these are for my higher though, of course.
So I think-
And you have those four squares I got y'all, and then you
Yeah.
have the other things.
I haven't used
We
those
made
at all
some
here.
reteach PowerPoint.
It kind of shows like a good, the word problems with the expressions and inequalities already in it. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's enough.
Because this would be something,
That's just, I didn't think when they were McGraw-Hill test, you showed
I
me how to do
wouldn't
it.
necessarily give, like, if you have a
It's
kid
a lot of
who's
questions.
shown that they're struggling,
That's not gonna
I
help.
wouldn't give this.
Too many
to them.
words.
This would
I
be more for
focus
the-
more on that.
Yeah.
Scale related.
This would be
If, like
more
something
for
like this,
the
what a
pitch.
small group forum would help. This, they see all those words, they're gonna be shut down.
Mm-hmm. That would be definitely a small group enrich right there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But there's a lot of good questions on that too, though. There's a lot of good writing.
You
Yeah.
can space it out, you
Yeah.
can take it and read.
Well, and I think too,
Chunk it.
based on our data, a lot of us going into inequalities, if you have that higher percent, that means, I think
Yeah.
some of this would be a higher level to get.
Well, that's why I was giving this
Uh,
motivation math, just
Yeah.
really challenge, that's why I grabbed those.
So we've got this here, I think that we can go through, kind of pick what we think we need for the different levels. If we wanna go ahead and we can get one of these, since you already made a copy for everyone. And then that way we've got plenty of stuff, so it just depends, I think, on our data based on our protocol.
Well, you guys are gonna take one anyway, because I didn't waste my lunch making copies for you for nothing, so.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get one, and then we can look through it, kind of plan out.
I just roll my eyes when he says
I was like, I didn't waste my
I
comment.
was like, oh, here we go.
So, are there, what about copies of other stuff that are on?
I have copies.
Oh, yeah. I made 10.
And what about the order of ops?
I've got order of ops here,
Are there lots of copies made for everybody, or?
so I'm kind of wondering here if we should kind of look through, pick our top couple, and then we can go make copies
You
of.
want to?
Well, can I take
Pass
this
these
to
around, I'll
a
make
chief,
copies.
Chris, for you?
What's that?
Should I take this to a chief?